Now, let me move over to the system integrators, marketing technology, Google, Facebook, Amazon. I'm going to kind of group technology together now and just talk briefly about this one. So I think we'd all agree here, marketing technology in general over the last couple of decades, has turned target audiences into multi-channel, omni-channel media consumption addicts. Plus, behind all effective revenue growing, business building, marketing technology is a data machine, a data engine, and an ability to integrate systems and data. And agencies have not kept pace with both the opportunity and the needs that are taking place here. So driven by technology and IT spend, the consultancies have entered with true digital transformation, along with system integrators and the tech companies, the marketing technology companies. And their goal actually isn't to steal all the agency business, just the most profitable part of the agency business. So as we look at Google, Facebook, Amazon becoming the new trio, the new force entering the space. So Google and Facebook together, almost 60% of digital advertising revenue is going to these two companies alone. Now, Facebook is coming in at 3%, which sounds a bit small, but for one company to have 3%, and I guarantee this is going to be approaching 10, 20, and 30% over the coming few years, because they are moving quickly with the advertising side of their business. It's important to keep a close eye on Amazon as well. They're all becoming more agency-like in their offering. In fact, they're stealing a lot of people from the agency business to kind of tack on, create an agency skin, so to speak, to their models. And these tech giants obviously have a distinct data advantage in that they collect, in and of themselves and their other offerings, collect a lot of data that allows them to market back to their massive, massive customer bases. So with Amazon, they're working directly with brands. They've started to go around agencies. There's a big push for, again, the most scalable part of the business, programmatic, making it self-serve so that clients can go in directly and use the Amazon platform. And it's really programmatic for Amazon. That is their biggest push. It's so profitable. Building up an agency-like team in New York. We aim to serve our advertisers in a number of ways based on their needs and goals. This is from an article that was talking specifically about how they're zeroing in on what clients most need and where it'll be most profitable for Amazon. With Google, the Google marketing platform, the integration of DoubleClick, AdWords, analytics all coming together. They're referring to it as sort of a full stack solution that's got a combination of insights, activation, being able to activate against those insights and then measure the impact as well. Moves advertisers one step closer to independence from their agencies. Why work with my agency to use Google when my team can work directly and will save a hell of a lot of money while doing it? Facebook, global advertisers are taking control of their own programmatic advertising. Facebook doing the same thing. Traditional agencies are built to work with global advertisers with retainers and big budgets, but Facebook is equally adept at working with big brands and sort of that longer, smaller tail of the smaller advertisers. And they offer a ton of, as I'm sure you're aware, services and tools, but not just for you, your digital team, your social media team, but pretty comprehensive offering, and being served up in a way that's easier for clients to be able to use themselves. And that interface, that user experience, so to speak, for the client is only going to get better. It's only going to get easier to use with time. Agencies are popping up that are starting to actually specialize in these areas. Here's Resolution, a Google-focused, specialized agency. Here's Marketplace Ignition. This is part of Wonderman, and it's an agency focused just on using Amazon. We're actually seeing a number of agencies starting to create Amazon practices actually within the agency, given the growth that is taking place and will continue to take place. Speaking about Amazon, the opportunity is now. Amazon is radically changing retail, and brands can no longer sit on the sidelines. More shoppers start product searches on Amazon than on Google. Holy cow. Like, just think about that for a second. We'll just jump down to this one here. Amazon has become a top brand marketing channel and is becoming an advertising powerhouse. And most agencies are just starting. Some are just starting to get Amazon on their radar. Not that long ago, this is a slide from an M&A expert who spoke at our CEO Summit just a year or two ago, talking about how not that long ago, the competitive set was pretty clean, pretty distinct, pretty simple. Fast forward a few years, it is a bit of a gong show. The lines have blurred. So many new companies have entered the space and has completely blurred the lines now. So clients are asking themselves, as they look at all these options to drive revenue growth, who should provide our insight, our strategy? Who should provide the activation of that strategy? Who should provide our technology? Who should take care of our measurement? Or should we just do it all ourselves? Which brings me to the next part of today's talk here, a look at in-house agencies. Now, some pretty significant changes happening here, and even over the last year, that agencies need to have a better understanding of, as the industry still sort of discounts in-house agencies a little bit, or sort of mocks them a little bit. Let's have a look at what's really going on and look at the rise of in-house agencies and what's going on here. So it's becoming more common to see articles like this. This was very recent. Revlon replaces Gray with internal agency named the Red House. Of course, it was publicly announced as mutual, but Revlon replaces Gray with internal agency named the Red House. And it's not that I think Gray is not a good agency. They're actually a pretty strong agency, but completely replaced. The Red House will be our internal center of excellence for content creation, as well as drive cost efficiency. This is right from the CEO of Revlon. Digiday, by the way, has a lot of great content on this as well. They have a series I recommend reading. It's called Confessions of a Marketer. And they talk about how they trade anonymity for honesty. And it's clients speaking very frankly about what's going on in the agency industry, how they look at agencies now. In this interview, agencies forced brands to in-house more marketing, saying that it just wasn't working. And they kept talking this language that I just don't care about anymore, this focus that I don't care about anymore. And it was very expensive. And their people were hard to work with, and it took a lot of time to get shit done. It was expensive. They forced us to develop more of an in-house offering. Media shops are getting hit hard too. Media shops face an identity crisis as clients move more work in-house. Obviously, programmatic having a big impact here as well. There's even the in-house agency forum. They have industry organizations that have formed, kind of like the 4As, but just for in-house agencies. So they're becoming a collective force like the agency world is. But let's look for a second at what's being in-housed. So this is a report from eMarketer. I'm just going to blow up a bit of it. In-house versus outsourced. So marketing strategy, 86% being brought in. Product marketing, customer experience, social media, data and analytics, advertising operations, more and more being brought in. I don't think there's any big surprises there, but the numbers are quite significant. Now, this trend has cycled before. I remember during the dot-com bubble, when the bubble burst, there was a trend right in that period. It sort of started before the bubble burst, went in afterwards, where clients started in-housing. Then they realized they couldn't be creative. The work lost its innovative value, its business value. The pendulum swung back. But it's different this time. Here's what's different. Clients see more benefit, more business value in in-housing, And agency talent is jumping ship. This is a huge one that's just started to take place. Let's talk about more benefit for a second. The talent, their in-house talent, is truly dedicated to the business. It's a client agenda that's driving things versus an agency agenda. And that's one of the biggest complaints that clients have about agencies. You're working your self-serving agenda against us to win awards and generate greater agency fee. And you don't even understand our business because you certainly don't talk like you do. You don't understand our KPIs. You don't use our KPIs in your presentations. You don't talk about business growth. They move faster. They talk about how slow the agency hierarchy and approval process is. They have more control. They have category specialists who really do, they're not just dedicated to the business, they really do understand the business. They're closer to the business than the agency team is. And ultimately, they get all of this for a cost savings. Here's a big one. This is a newer one. Agency talent is jumping ship. So here's one of the big creative directors. He left Gray, went to Apple. So you know that when you start to see the big creative directors jumping ship, you know something's going on. Verizon names Andrew McKinney to lead new in-house creative agency. He was, after working at a number of agencies, was at Apple, then went to Verizon. Ad Age even now has an in-house agency of the year. Oh my God, what's going on? In-house agency of the year. So even the industry, our industry trade pubs are starting to recognize this growing group that is moving. But it's critical to understand why. Why is this happening? Why is this talent jumping ship? Number one, no pitching business. They're not distracted by the endless RFPs that agencies feel they need to chase to grow the business, as opposed to proactive prospecting or organic growth or more efficient means. They're not distracted by pitches. They find the work more meaningful because they're closer to the business, they're closer to the decision maker, so they can have more impact. The need for speed, they can move a lot more quickly because they're sitting with the decision makers. Data ownership. Agencies always complain we don't get enough access to the data and the information. They get all that access. Overall kind of client access, connection to the brand. But wait, there's more. Quality of life. The pay can often be much better. There's a lot of perks, and the hours are a lot closer to 9 to 5 client side than they are agency side. Quality of life has in fact been one of the biggest factors that we've seen in talent jumping over from agency to client side. They get training and development. There's changing attitudes about selling out. It used to be, we made fun of people who jump ship. It's like, oh, they've gone to the dark side. They're totally selling out. They just want to be lazy. No, they're actually doing good work, exciting work. There's opportunity for strong creative output, particularly because they're so close to the decision maker, and shrinking agency spend budgets, meaning I got to get closer to budget control because we're getting less and less of it here over on the agency side. So pretty compelling reasons. Interesting article here from Digiday. What's also sort of driving this in-housing shift. So what's agencies' loss is consultancies' gain. Consultancies like Accenture Interactive, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Deloitte Digital are all making one core tenet part of their pitch to marketers. If you want to take back more marketing in-house, we'll help you do it. They're buoyed by a stronger relationship that goes beyond the chief marketing officer and an overall perception that they're objective partners, not simply vendors, putting them in a good position to remain top of mind for advertisers even as agencies can't. For example, an Accenture Interactive rep said inside the company's newly launched programmatic services division, one of the core competencies is in-housing, which includes helping advertisers take back control of their media capabilities, building programmatic strategies, insourcing technology, changing operational models, and creating internal capabilities. Accenture is working with companies like HP, Radisson. For Radisson, it was a way to take back control of the customer journey from third-party partners and feel comfortable that it would deliver what it wanted. So even the consultancies have found a way to leverage this trend in their favor. All right, so that's a look at in-house agencies and a lot of change that's taking place there. And in fact, one of the creative directors I worked with at Wieden Kennedy, Todd Waterbury, probably the single most talented creative director, designer I've ever worked with in my life. He's the creative director at Target now. So big talent, even creative talent, going client side. So I think some of the implications here are definitely considering what can we do to create a better culture, to create a better environment. Let's more consciously focus on culture and taking care of our people. I think we've been so caught up in how everything is so crazy and running at a million miles an hour that we're forgetting our people, we're forgetting culture a little bit. Now, I want to come around, talk a bit more about the implications of all of this. We had a speaker at one of our conferences by name of Eric Rocco, who introduced a model to the room that I thought was kind of interesting, looking at what the client's needs are, sort of vis-a-vis against the different types of marketing services companies. So marketing service provider, functional expertise. So at one end, you got operations platform and back office. So we're talking about marketing now. At the front end, it's all about customer experience, customer engagement. So you've got the system integrators that are hardcore back-end, infrastructure, technology, integration, development, requirements gathering, design, build, test, support. They're focused on putting clients' data and data systems to work. Then in the middle, you've sort of got marketing operations. So marketing capability analysis, marketing technology architecture, marketing planning process, execution process, and so on. And then you've got marketing services, creative and messaging, web development, SEO, and so on. Now, sort of consider this for a moment. The service provider types and which types of marketing service providers service these different areas. As you've got true marketing transformation and digital transformation, customer strategy, full service agency, digital agency, tech vendor, software integration, again, kind of hardcore tech companies. And he sort of introduced kind of where the gaps are here. So marketing transformation, true marketing transformation cuts across all of this, which the consultancies tend to do much better. Customer strategy is obviously just focused on the customer engagement, customer experience end of things, so that they have a bit of a gap leading up to that. Now, the full service agency has a big gap at the beginning in that hardcore technology. There's a little bit of, let's introduce maybe a little bit of CRM, a little bit of software to help utilize what you have. And then there's another big gap around marketing operations, and then the traditional marketing services come in. And the traditional agencies are almost identical, except one of the disadvantages that the big digital shops are finding right now is that they're entering more holistic marketing, brand-oriented pitches, and they're not beating the traditional ad agencies. And they're struggling competing against the shifting type of pitch, the digital-only pitches. They still exist, but there are fewer of them than there were just a few years ago. So they're actually finding a bit of a disadvantage. Now, overall, I would not say they're at a disadvantage. This is just in the context of this particular model. This model is also not acknowledging profit margins within some of these areas. Just meant to paint a simple picture of where the gaps are. And then the hardcore tech companies, obviously all back end, no front end whatsoever. I think the most important implication here around full service agency, digital agency, is there is an opportunity to more effectively fill in some of these gaps here. Although I'm going to come back around to this and talk overall about what I think the top handful of opportunities are for agencies. So there's just a very basic look from a consultant in the space and their point of view on how this is all kind of mapping at the moment.